Hi everyone, my name is Virginia Duan, also known as Mandarin Mama, and I write at mandarinmama.com. This is another 5-minute writing tip, and today's topic is on how to find your voice while writing. So for those of you who might not know what a writing voice is, it's think of the narration. Like if someone were to narrate your piece or read your piece aloud, who would it be? Or like what type of person would they be? Who's telling the story? That's the voice, all right? In like a general sense. Sometimes some people have like a very irreverent writing voice or a wry writing voice, like an angry voice. Like I guess I could spend 5 minutes giving you different types of voices. But the question is how to find your voice. And honestly, practice. That's the only way. You try a lot of different voices. Some will be easier for you to adapt and adopt. Some will sound more like you as a person, like your personality. And sometimes it doesn't sound like you at all because of either like nervousness or you're trying to be somebody you're not in writing. So those are, but really it just comes down to practicing and trying a lot of voices. Personally, I think, so there's several ways to go about creating a voice. Whether you try to or not, everyone who writes has a voice, okay, has a voice in their, like a type of sound or style. Whether you are intending to or not, that's just a given, okay? But you can change it, you can hone it, you can improve it, you can make it better. And so I guess I would address several things. One is, how do you choose one, okay? Because you can consciously choose to write in a certain voice. So for myself, depending on what type of piece I'm writing, I either go for, if I'm writing like a piece kind of exploring, my childhood, the pain and the anger and the consequences of my childhood and how it affects my parenting. That if I'm writing that type of piece, that voice is different than, that voice is the voice of, who I was, if that makes sense, or who I am. It's the voice of the kid. It's the voice of the child who wished they had someone to advocate for them. Okay, so that's the voice. Like the voice of, it comes from that voice, right? Like the voice of like the wounded child. Okay, or who I was as a wounded child. And though I'm a grown up also, when I write from that perspective, that's the voice that comes out. And it's not like I'm choosing to, but that's what comes out naturally, okay? When I write pieces about Chinese, I usually adopt two types of voices for that, or a mixture. I try to adopt it from like a kind of a friendly big sis type of voice. And depending on how exasperated I am, or like how like, come on, I am, the voice is either kind and like gentle, but usually it skews more like sarcastic and like pokey. And recently, I would say in the last 8 months or so, maybe a year, the voice has skewed more and more absurd and ridiculous. And I think part of it is because I've been writing about Chinese for so long. It's kind of like, okay, and it's to make it interesting to myself. And whether that always works, who knows? I don't always adopt it because it's not helpful. But I think I adopt a more absurd voice when it comes to like writing my Chinese updates. So you can have different types of voice. So you kind of need to consider all the 5 W's and the H, right? Who, what, where, why, when, and how. Like, who's your audience? And that's actually the most important, I think. And then you can choose like type of voice. Do you want to be the friendly person? Do you want to be like a scold, or do you want to be like self-righteous? Or, well, I guess no one ever wants to be self-righteous, but they end up sounding it. And how to do that this is, I'm already at 5 minutes, is, I would say read. It's always reading. Read the voices that appeal to you, okay? And read the people that you like. So personally, I love John Scalzi and I love Orson Scott Card. They're both, and actually I also really love Brandon Sanderson. And they have a similar type of voice. And Neil Gaiman. I mean, anyway, all these authors. But Scalzi especially has a really snarky, smart-ass voice. And I love it. And I actively tried to be more like that. And then some of it succeeded, some of it felt natural to me, some of it felt like I was putting on a skin that didn't quite fit. And eventually I figured it out. And even now I still, and then because I am on the internet so much and consume so many memes, and I'm on Reddit so much and in fandom so much, that type of absurd voice creeps in, because fandom is extremely extra. Like, it's really, really, really ridiculous. And so, yeah. So that's what I've actively tried to add more and more in. So I'd say read the voices that you love, read the voices that appeal to you, and try to write like them. Try to write like them, and the more you practice, the more you will see where it falls short, where it seems inauthentic, where it seems more like you. Okay, and really, all a voice is taking an aspect of your personality and sometimes, kicking it up a notch. So I am kind of an absurd person, and I'm kind of a sarcastic jerk, and so, but the voice that comes through often, I dial it up a notch. I mean, I would never say half the things I say in writing to a person, because I have standards, I guess. but so like sometimes you can kick it up a notch, or I dial it back. When I'm trying to be like authoritative, I dial back the extraness and I bring out more of my like mom, big sister, bossy voice. But okay, so I feel like I've run on a bit, but in summary, practice and read more voices that appeal to you and that you would like to try. Okay, and then practice. So I hope that helps. My tips are getting much longer than 5 minutes. Again, Virginia Duan, Mandarin Mama. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.